That important. Put the
Oh, look,
beanie
you
on.
got the same haircut I do. Look at you, look gangster now. Look at that.
Let's start. I like that.
There you go.
Yeah,
Welcome.
what a cool intro. I dig that. That's cool. Who
That's
came up
just for
with
you.
that?
Chris did.
Chris did.
No, I'm too lazy to come up with anything like that.
That is
Mine
really cool. I love it.
You
mine
get
would
a
be
nod, Mr.
much
JB at
simpler.
Foxhall Woodworks. You get a nod. We can hear you.
Yeah, we won't talk about how bad we were talking about you off air there, buddy.
Oh, I wasn't talking bad, stating facts.
Nothing but truth.
Just
Nothing
giving him
but
a
Yes.
hard
truth.
time.
Well, it's Wednesday at 9 p.m. This is the Whatnot podcast where we put the what into whatnot. I'm Mike Z.
I am Chris, and you might notice this young man down below us here. We're joined by Eric Rhoten tonight from Make a Wood Sign. I thought, in honor of the famous hand sign maker, I would put a CNC in my background.
Perfect.
And
Yeah,
welcome to
because
the show, my friend.
Well, thanks, guys. I'm honored that you guys would reach out and have me as part of your podcast. I'm not famous by any stretch. I'm just happy to be here. And calling me a young man is a little sarcasm there because I'm probably older than both of you put together. But that's okay.
You're just wiser, that's all.
wiser, yes. No, I don't know. I have to say that your fame probably outdoes anything that you think it does because when I went to Workbench Con, everybody knew who you were. There
Hmm.
wasn't a
Really?
single person that I talked to that didn't say, "Have you met Eric yet?" Not a
No
single one
kidding.
wasn't like, "Yeah, oh yeah, it was great." Because I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, I knew who you were, but I never met you." And everyone's like, "Oh man, you got to go over there and meet Eric." He does these awesome things with wood signs. I'm like, "Yes, I okay." But yeah, no, I
Wow.
mean, it was
Wow.
amazing the amount of people. So you are
I'm
famous, my friend.
that's humbling. I appreciate that. Yeah, we met. Who was it? It was it Alan? I think.
Yeah.
Who was it Alan Wickard? I think
Hmm.
introduced us, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And I had heard obviously of Klingspor, but I'd never used your product before. So I was happy to get that little sample pack, and that's pretty much all it took. This isn't a commercial or anything, but
No,
pretty much
no.
all it took. I got hooked on that stuff. Great, great abrasives, man. I love your products.
Yeah, what was even better is that when you called over to the plant, you kept saying Mike Klingspor. And so luckily some people knew who that was behind Mike Klingspor, being me. And they were just like, man, I don't know what you gave this guy, but he is just so hyped up on the Klingspor product. He just can't stop talking about it and how nice you were. And I'm thinking, well, he's just that nice of a guy. So that's all that matters.
He just wants sandpaper. That's what he wants, huh?
I just wanted some sandpaper. There you go.
Klingspor Abrasives, making sandpaper for all of your needs since 1893.
Not sponsored. Maybe somewhat. Anyways, Eric, tell us a little bit about you. What is Make a Wood Sign, and how can people find out more about the great products and services that you offer?
Well, we've been we make basically we have a YouTube channel, Old Abe 100, and we're on Instagram as Make a Wood Sign. But Dad started the business actually back when I was a kid. My father started the business in 1970, and we started making routed signs, just freehand routed signs, doing them at flea markets and horse shows and state fairs and all of that back in California. Just a little bit different than most of what you would see back then. But then fast forward about 20, 30 years, we started actually selling signs and making other products, but still mostly in the signage realm. And then we decided uh, to actually film what we were doing. We were selling so many signs at that point. We had a shop with a few employees, and we were selling so many signs. We decided we needed to teach somebody how to do this, to make signs. Like, for instance, this is just a kind of a representative sample of the signs that we made. And so what we did is we had dad came up with a system for making those, and we needed to bring somebody in to the shop to teach them how to do it. So we found that after a short period of time, a month or two, these guys were doing so well making signs for us, they would go out on their own and get their own gig, and which makes sense. That's competition and that's free market, which we're all about that. But then we wanted to kind of up the training time, and up the training curve. So we decided to go ahead and film the training, put it on VHS tapes. That was back in the '90s. You guys remember the big
Oh
VHS
yeah.
cameras you put on your shoulder. So
Please rewind or rewind before you return or something
yeah,
like that. Whatever it
Be
was.
absolutely.
kind, rewind.
Yeah.
Yeah, the blockbuster days and all of that stuff. Yeah. So we put together this what we thought was just going to be a training set of VHS tapes for people that we would bring in and hire to do these signs, because we were selling them through hardware stores and lumber yards. We actually had dealers at that point. And so we put these videos together, and then we realized, well, now we have a product we can actually sell. Maybe we can sell these VHS to hobbyists that want to know how to make signs with this system we put together. So we started selling some of those, and that led, eventually into DVDs, and we were selling DVDs, and then after a few years of that, I said, Dad, I keep hearing that in order to stay in touch with your customers, you need to have a newsletter, like a monthly newsletter. And Dad said, "No, no, I'm not sitting down every month and writing a stinking newsletter. No, 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 I'm not doing that." So I said, "Well, they got this new thing called YouTube." This was back in 2007. They got this thing called YouTube. Why don't we make a video newsletter? Dad goes, "We can do that." So we've actually been on YouTube since 2007. And at the beginning, it was just a monthly tip or a trick or some kind of a technique or just something that we learned that we could, post on YouTube, so people that bought our DVDs could go on there and just kind of keep in touch with us. Customer management systems, so to speak. And then that just kind of evolved, and then we came up with a series of products, started buying some router bits and selling router bits and other things. Now we have hundreds and hundreds of different products that people can buy from us if they want to. We have a website where they can buy products from us, and that kind of goes along with the videos. Now we've been doing videos, well, again, since 2007, but we started to up our frequency. At first, it was just once a month, but I realized that the more videos that we made, the more subscribers we got, the more that kind of fills that funnel and ends up, gaining more business. So
Mhm.
now we're up over 1,600 videos, and yeah, and we're still posting. I'm still basically, my job is creating content, and we still post 4 videos a week, and I stay pretty busy
Wow.
with all the other things.
The editing alone makes me cringe.
Well, that's funny that you say that, because really early on, Dad and I decided that one of the things that we were going to do that was a little bit different than everybody else is we're not going to edit. Whatever happens, it happens. If the dog walks in front of the camera, or the phone rings, or whatever happens, it happens. If we and what happened was very early on, we found that Dad and I, we kind of would feed off of each other and throw each other under the bus on a regular basis. And people seem to just they kind of seem to gravitate toward that. So we've been, a couple old desert Okies right from the beginning, just throwing those videos up there. So now I've gotten to the point where I'll add a little music or I'll speed the video up a little bit, but I don't spend like, and this is, I guess, how I can create as much content. I probably spend a maximum of a half hour editing any one video. But our videos aren't real professional. They're not, we don't have a lot of graphics or anything like that. I guess we kind of went to the whole quantity rather than quality. We just try to throw out as much information as we can.
Well, it's more authentic that way, and people get to see the real side of you, the not the edited portion that a lot of folks like to put in there.
Well, it certainly is something that we kind of just stumbled upon as kind of our the way we do it, kind of our format. And it was really because I didn't have any idea how to do any of that stuff at the beginning. I could barely figure out where the record button was on the camera, let alone do any editing. So it was by necessity back in those days, and we kept getting feedback from our audience saying, Eric, don't get fancy on us. Don't start going professional on us and do all that fancy stuff. Just give us the lowdown and give us what we need to know. And I was like, well, I'm cool with that.
Makes it easier for sure
Hmm.
not to spend that time on that. And at the same time, it is authentic because you're just coming out as you are, as if they were sitting there in front of you talking to you.
Yep.
Well,
It,
that's kind of it. Just came. It came. Well, the first few videos, the first probably, I don't know, 40 or 50 videos are pretty brutal. It's tough for me to go back and watch those. It hurts so much to watch those. But they did get a little bit better over time. But it just came so natural to Dad and I that we had what we started doing on film is stuff that we did when had somebody in the shop, when somebody came by, or we were out at a fair, or I can remember being a little kid, 11, 12 years old. We were carving at a flea market. I was kind of the assistant, and Dad was doing the carving. And somebody would ask a question. Dad would bring them right inside the booth, show them exactly how to do it, exactly everything to do it, with no kind of, nothing, and uh, trying to get nothing out of it, just trying to pass on information. And that's kind of what I grew up with. So it was so natural for me. Like, and one of my favorite things to do is do demos out in public and actually carve on site. That's one of my favorite things to do.
yeah, that's always been fun when you're doing the fairs and the different public events, the interaction with the public. That's one of the reasons why I like shows so much.
Yep, yep. I was, and again, I grew up from the time I was 16, 17 years old. I've been doing it already 4 or 5 years, and finally getting to the point where I had a driver's license now, and I was going out. Dad was running the shop, and I would go out and do fairs or, again, flea markets or, whatever. And so I kind of grew up doing that. And at 16, 17 years old, I was running a sign booth by myself, and I just thrived on it. I love it. I carved at there's a I remember it was the summer of 1980. We got an actual contract with Marriott's. It was Marriott's Great America. Now it's a Five Flag or Six Flags over in San Jose. And I actually carved for a summer out there, which was for a 17 or no, I was at 20 years old at that point. That was an adventure for me. That was really cool, but it was a lot of work.
And now, did you get to carve during the day and then, go to Six Flags in the evening? Is that how that
No,
worked?
no, I was carving from the time they opened till the time they closed. That was pretty much it. But there was a lot of perks. We were posted. Our booth was right at the bottom of of the log ride, the water log ride. So um, for a 20-year-old kid, it was kind of like a full-time summer wet T-shirt contest. So it was cool. I enjoyed it. I'll just leave it at that.
That'll work. Yep, man. Yeah, the younger days, he did some things.
Yeah, yeah,
No, that's kind of fun because whenever you do a show, it is very you never know what you're going to get. And so each one's different. You do get kind of the same people that'll come in, but at the same time you never really know what it's going to be, so it keeps you on your toes.
yeah, yeah. And for me, there's something, I don't know. There's something, and a lot of people that follow us, they some of them do this just as a hobby.
Mhm.
Some of them are, kind of do it as a part-time income. Some of them, yeah, have taken it to the point where they're doing it full-time. And there's something to be said for, and you guys know this, when you make something and you hand it to your customer, and that immediate feedback that you get, man,
Yeah.
it's a high that you can't get anywhere else.
Nope.
I mean, it's once you get addicted to that, it's tough to let that go. And again, I've done that pretty much since I was a kid, and it's uh, very early on I realized this is what I was here for. This is what I was meant to do. And man, and 50 years plus later, I still can't get enough of it. I just absolutely love it.
Yeah, there's
So
something
so how
about that
many
instant feedback.
yep. How
Sorry,
many
Chris.
customers' names have you spelled wrong?
You know, more than I want to admit. I haven't made a mistake in a while, but one of the things that I teach on the videos is you can't double check your spelling too much.
Hmm.
Four, five, six, seven times. Always double check your spelling. It's been a few years since I made a mistake like that, but I run across that from people that follow us on a regular basis. Eric, how do I fix it? How do I turn an O into an A or whatever? How do I fix this? There's ways to get around that. There's ways that you can, but yeah. So I see that once in a while, but I haven't done it for a while.
Yeah, I'll admit I double checked your last name quite a few times before I posted the description or anything else, all the banners and stuff. I was like, let me make sure I've got that right.
Well, I just appreciate you saying Rhoten and not Rotten because I've gotten that a few times too.
Oh, well, they're just wrong.
Oh man. Well, it's good to see that, like many of us, that you got addicted to woodworking because of your dad.
Yeah,
And usually, and I've told a lot of we've talked about this before. Typically, woodworkers, we get into it either because of a dad or a grandparent that's into it, and we kind of get the bug from them. And
yeah.
clearly, that's what happened with you. So that's really good.
Well, and I'm really fortunate that Dad started the business, and not only did I get the woodworking thing from him, but I got the entrepreneur thing
Hmm.
because he had started the business. He was a design machinist for 20 something years, and he took a vacation. Someone stole his tools, so he was looking for something else to do, and this is what he kind of decided to start to do. So I was really blessed in the fact that I got not just the woodworking thing, but the idea to own your own business and
Hmm.
actually, build something for yourself. And that's what I'm probably, um, I feel most fortunate about that because man, I just can't even imagine not having not having ownership in what I'm doing. So and so I was a 10, 12-year old kid, and Dad and I was the baby of the family. All my siblings had already moved out, and it was just me and Dad. Mom and Dad had split up. It was just me and Dad, and we were building the business together. So it was like I had no use for school at all. It was like school was just I was kind of watching the clock, waiting until I could get home and get in the shop. That
Hmm.
was that was it for me. I knew really early on exactly what I wanted to do.
That's fortunate.
Very, very
So,
fortunate.
What's really interesting is that so he was a machinist and someone had taken all of his tools, so then he just changed direction. So it's almost like that door closed for him as a reason, and then he found another door that was open to pursue that instead.
Yeah, he was. Uh, Again, he was used to dealing with precision measurements, in the thousands and tenths and that kind of thing. And then going into wood, it's like, yeah, if you're within an eighth of an inch, you're good, So for him, it was like, gosh, and he had played around a little bit with it when he was a young kid, and so he was just at a flea market one day and was watching a guy making a sign, literally making a sign. That we lived in Northern California, so it was in Sacramento area, watching a guy making a sign, and this was again, like 1970, and the guy spent about 15, 20 minutes, and Dad paid him $20. And back in those days, it was $20 for 15 or 20 minutes. It was pretty good. And Dad started doing the calculations, came home and bought a router, bought some wood, and started. And then me and my bigger brother, who was at home right at the end before he left, we would go door to door selling signs, and I would, is my brother and I would just take a display of signs, and we'd walk door to door selling signs, and that's how the whole thing started. Pretty crazy.
That is awesome. Well, we have a, guest of honor here that I know is a part of your lives a lot of the time, and that's Mr. Chris Miller.
Hey, Chris. Hey,
Says
buddy.
three of the industry's best guys. It's an honor to have each of them as friends with each of them. Yes, the honor is ours, Chris, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris is.
Somebody started sipping the hard stuff a little early there, Chris.
Yeah, when you made a comment that you hope no one fell asleep, I'm thinking, well, Chris Miller's the only one that turns in early, so we can always hope for him.
Chris is a great guy. We work together. We geez, every week, and his router bits. We buy quite a few amount of router bits from him, and he is truly a value to our business for what he helps us with. Makes a huge difference. So thank you, Chris. I appreciate that.
Yeah, and he's always going to send you down the right path for what you're doing, especially because
Yeah.
hand route signs, and then you're teaching people to do the same thing with a router. You do have to have a quality bit for sure to
Oh,
really be able to transfer that. Lower vibration, clean cut, that kind of stuff really does make a difference.
it's huge. It's huge. When I talk to people that try to hand route signs and they just, fail miserably or they feel terrible about what they've made, it always goes back to if you don't have the right router bits and you don't have the right material. That's like I don't have anything to base this on from statistically, but I know that that's 80 to 90% of it really is having the right router bits and having the right material. But most guys take a router bit they bought at Home Depot, and it's not made to do what they're trying to do with it, and then they pick up an old piece of 2x6 construction material, and then they think that they're going to come out with a nice sign, and chances are, it just doesn't work out that way. You got to have the right router bits and the right material. Otherwise, it's like trying to be a carpenter with a rock instead of a hammer.
There's a good
Doesn't
way to
work
put
out
it.
real well.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it. Now, so how do you tell someone to overcome having a fixed base router with a router bit that's exposed past the base, having them drop it down for the first time? Like, what is one of your ways or methods to tell them, because that's for someone who may not have used a router before, that's got to be a little intense.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm fortunate that especially, and this is something that has just happened over the last few years, our biggest growing demographic is ladies that are
Mhm.
getting into woodworking. You guys know this,
Hmm.
the women population. Back when I was a kid, there was no women that were doing any woodworking or, power tools or anything like that. So for me, one of the things that I tell somebody, in fact, I remember specifically, I was talking to a lady on the phone that was just scared to death of the router. She wanted to learn how to do this, but she was just scared to death. So I said, okay, so here's what we do. Don't put a router bit in there I don't even want you to turn the router on. I just want you to take that router, put it on the board, and start moving it around. Don't turn it on. Don't do nothing. Just get comfortable with that thing in your hand and just slide it on the board, move it around. Just play around with that for a half hour, and then don't put a bit in. Then turn it on and get used to that vibration with moving that router around on that board. So it's just it's little baby steps, and now she makes signs that are absolutely amazing. She's phenomenal at it. So I guess to answer your question specifically, Mike, anytime that you have a router, I didn't bring one out because I'm in the office, but anytime you have a router and you have a router bit sticking down below the base, like you're talking about, you definitely want to have that router out of the wood. What I would do is I would set the edge of that router on the board itself when you turn it on. So it's got some stability, not just hanging in the air and
Mhm.
not setting in the wood. You want to put that base at an angle, set it on the board, have one hand on it, nice and solid, then turning that router on so you have stability from that router, and then work your way down into the cut. So and obviously you want to use test pieces and just practice a lot. But that's probably I think that answers your question.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but
No, 100%. Because I know on some of the lives that I've seen or some of the videos that you have that custom base with those two wooden handles.
hmm yep,
And as soon as I saw it, I thought, where has this been my whole life? Because for a trim router, that would have been handy. But then I
yeah,
saw how you did it. You had it facing like the router would be leaning towards the person. Sorry, yeah, black fingernails. But the router would be leaning towards the person on the camera side, and you
yeah,
would turn it on, and then you just lightly just put it straight down in there. And I thought, well,
yep,
I definitely wouldn't have done it that way. I would have been straight down and hope for
yeah.
the best, I guess.
And that's why you don't have a huge YouTube following making
That's
wooden
right.
signs with a hand
That's
router.
that's exactly correct. That's why no one follows me for sign making.
That's why your fingernails are black because you're a finish expert.
Yeah, black and charcoal and you name it. I've got it on there. Forgot all
Well,
about
man,
that.
I tell people all the time, I don't know a lot about a lot. I'm pretty much a one trick pony. But this, since it's super easy for me to talk about this stuff because it's pretty much all I've ever done and all I've ever wanted to do. I'm still trying to up my game now. And I've been doing this for the last couple of years, adding some power carving to my routing
Mhm.
because I want more depth. So now I'm doing some power carving, adding to the routing. But yeah, most of the stuff that I've learned or that I know is just stuff that Dad taught me back when I was a kid. So it was like, and when you're out on site and you're carving 30, 40 signs a day, and you're just knocking them out. It's just stuff that there's a lot of stuff that I find that I do just by habit because and I have to slow myself down when I'm trying to explain this on camera because and that's the one thing too that a lot of people have commented that they like my videos because I try to hit every step and try to throw stuff in there and look at it from a brand new person's perspective. And they haven't seen that a lot in YouTube. But when I first started, making videos, I would get advice from other YouTubers, and they would say, Eric, don't go more than 7 or 8 minutes on a video because you'll lose them. You'll lose people. And it was just like I can't do anything in 7 or 8 minutes. I was back then. We were still doing 20, 30, 40 minute videos because I didn't want to leave anything out. It just didn't feel right to me.
Mhm.
So now, of course, it seems like the industry has kind of come my way rather than short. I always looked at it like, hey, if somebody they can fast forward through or skip past some spot that they don't want to see that they already know and move on to what they want to see, or people will view it at different times or whatever. They might not have 30 minutes all in one shot, but they might come back and watch it again, the second half of it or the last third of it or whatever. So um, yeah, I just don't want to leave anything out. That's what Dad, when we first filmed those VHSs, we thought it would be about 30, 40 minutes. It ended up being 4 hours. because we just couldn't leave anything out. So we had, 4 1-hour VHSs to begin with. And it was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know it was going to be anywhere near that long. Um, but yeah, it's just, that's just me. I don't want to leave anything out.
No, which is good because it leaves a lot less questions to be answered in the comment section, if you will. You're not spending all your time answering all these questions because you covered all those points.
Hmm.
Well, yeah, uh, to some extent, but uh, one of the things that I have done right from day one is answer all the emails. I get dozens of emails every day, and that's my pretty much my early morning routine. I'm generally at my computer by 3 or 3:30, and I spend my first 2 hours of the day just answering emails because I don't want anybody out there with questions that I'm not not answering. Um, but that does, I think you're right, Mike, in the fact that if I didn't do all of that, then I would have even more. I would have a ton more. So a lot of times the questions I will take the time and send them a link to a video that shows, oh, I did a video on this back whenever, and give them a link to that video so they can see exactly what I did, rather than just answer the questions with a with text or whatever.
Yeah. Now, so I have a question. Do you have one of the box sets of VHS or DVD that you've kept for yourself?
We have the masters, yeah. We
Oh,
have the
yeah, there you go.
masters, and they are they're covered with dust, pretty much. Yeah, way
Well, give
back.
it time. VHS will be back, just like records. It'll make a comeback.
Yeah,
Yeah. See, you
probably
need
will.
you need to learn to do like Chris Miller. When you ask him a question, he goes, "All right, I'll get with Frank and get back with you." You need a Frank in your life where you can go have him answer all the questions for you. Love you, Chris.
Frank's going to love that too. He's going to. Did you ever see the one that we did with Frank from Amana, the tech
I
advisor, the main
I
tech
did.
guy?
I got to go back and watch that.
Oh, he is a hoot. He is the best way to describe a technical person who's been doing it a long time, answering very similar questions all the time. He's just a lot of fun. But since he works with Chris Miller, he just loves to throw Chris under the bus every once in a while with something.
Hmm.
It's quality
Oh, now
entertainment.
now you really got me intrigued. Now I
Mhm.
definitely have to see it.
That one's a lot of fun. Yeah,
Yeah, he's a really good guy.
he's
So
okay.
what else can I answer for you guys?
Oh, he said, "Ouch." Yeah. Oh, sorry, Mr. Chris Miller said he said, "Ouch."
There he goes. Yeah.
Angus, by the way, who looks a lot like Nick Offerman now with his beard being trimmed, he looks very suave. He actually has a good point. You get what you pay for, and if you go to a box store to buy certain products that are consumables, such as saw blades or router bits or even abrasives, you are going to get what you pay for sure.
Yep. And it's not to say that those particular products might not work good for some applications, but for specifically for routing signs, to just pick up a router bit that you get at a box store, maybe something for the edge, but certainly not for freehand carving signs. It's not going to work out well for you.
Now that you said for the edge, which profile do you like best? Would it be a roundover or a chamfer?
Uh, you know, I might like more of a chamfer, a bevel, but then
I'm out of
my
here.
dad always liked the scalloping. My dad was a fan of the
I like the
scallop.
scalloping.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is still done with the same bit, 45-degree chamfer. It's still done with the same bit, but I was always more of a, I don't know. I kind of like the bevel a little bit better. I don't know. I just like the smooth. This is just an old one that's been kicking around for a long time. This thing is probably 30 years old, but I always liked kind of the look of the bevel or the chamfer. But
Of
so
course you do.
and a lot of times, like lately, I've been getting some stuff from cabinet shops that are just culls from cabinet shops, like doors or drawer fronts or whatever, and they got a nice OG, some kind of Roman OG or something on the edge, which I really like. I really like that, especially because I make most of my edges black, and then put a finish on them, and it really kind of gives it a nice border.
There you go. Yeah, so we have a running joke too. Whenever you go back, it's Team Chamfer or Team Roundover. It's just a running
Okay.
gag between Chris and I because I'm Team Chamfer. I just think a chamfer is nice, and Chris likes a roundover. But he did start bringing up a nice point that an OG is kind of a nice combination between the two in a way.
Yeah, yeah, it is. Yeah, yeah, gives it a fancy look.
Fancy look. I like that. Yeah, no, that's why. Because if you're routing, they're gonna have some sort of preference. Yeah, Team OG. Yeah, all about the. I like
There
that
it
one.
is.
Team OG. There it is. Oh, and then I got you, Chris. Team Roundover for the win.
Mm.
Or is it Team Roundover from the Woodcraft? Oh, I don't know.
Oh, ouch.
Ah, he knows I love him. He was on there. He was on episode 14, if I'm not mistaken. So that was a lot of fun too. So that's why when I said earlier, I as soon as I saw that, I said seriously, I was just picking on him because he knows it. Whatever.
He said ouch too.
Yeah, I think you got it. See.
All right, guys, let's pick a different word. Ouch has already been used.
Yeah, by the one and only with the exclamation point, I might add, and he capitalized it.
Yeah.
I mean, he went up to you before you even tried. I mean,
He made it sound like you actually did hurt yourself. So, where do you currently reside? You said that you had grown up in Northern California, and then, as far as I know, you're in the desert.
Yeah, yeah. We actually came to our senses about 15 minutes ago, 15 years ago, and got out of California, um, and moved out to Arizona. We are in northern Arizona now, just outside of Kingman, Arizona, between Kingman and Bullhead City. Love it out here.
Yeah, that is a nice area. I lived in the valley for good lord, I don't know, a long time. Then I moved out of there. But yeah, no, there's something about Arizona that you can't find anywhere else.
Yeah, no, I absolutely love it, and we are blessed right here where we're at. We're out literally in the middle of the desert. We're on 2 acres. Nobody even knows we're here, but we've got the Wallapai Mountains to the east. I can look out my window and see the Wallapai Mountains, and then that way to the west, about half hour, we've got Lake Mojave and the Colorado River, and Laughlin, Nevada, right on the other side of the river, and so. We just have a lot, and then we're only about an hour and a half drive from Las Vegas. So even though we're very, very remote, we have within a fairly short drive, we've got a lot of stuff available to us. I go to Phoenix on a regular basis. It's about 3.5, 4 hour drive, which is no big deal. So, um, but we like it out here. We live in Golden Valley, Arizona, which is not even a city. It's not even a town, really. It's more like just a big span of nothing between Kingman and Bullhead City, with a bunch of it's about I don't know about 60 miles long by about 25 miles wide, and there's I don't know 4 or 5 thousand people here. So it's just the right size population for me.
Perfect.
Yeah, I like it that way.
Yeah, it's nice whenever you look at a map, you're trying to find someone's address, and it's nothing but a dirt road.
Yep,
That's a
yep.
kind of yeah.
no
Well, we're
worries of
fortunate. We do
Google
have
Maps
we do
coming to
have pavement.
your street. Then
Yeah, you don't have to worry
What's
about that
that?
Subaru driving. You don't have to worry about the Subaru from Google Maps driving by and doing a street view. They'll look at
Right.
your street and be like, "Yeah, we're good. Well,
Yeah.
they'll figure it out."
Yeah.
That's what Google Satellites for. But yes, JP said that Chris won't invite him back though. We're supposed to do the Mystery Science Theater 3000 thing. We did have this fun idea where we were going to sit and just be the backs of our heads, and we were going to just watch YouTube videos and just kind of, if we saw something
Mhm.
woodworking wise, it's like that's not safe. Or just
Yeah.
kind of just poke fun at it, have some fun with it.
Oh, that's a great idea.
One day when we get free to do that. And then, yeah, good old Luke Air Force Base in Phoenix. Too hot for him. Well, it depends on what time of year. I mean, December, January, February, they're decent.
Yeah. Yeah.
well, if you can't live there year round, I don't want to live there.
Well, it's all perspective. I wouldn't want to live in Chicago or someplace where it gets cold in the wintertime. I don't do well with the cold. The heat I can deal with. I can, we can, I can jump in the hot tub and get cooled off, and I don't have to worry. We've all got air conditioners out here, and a lot of times we're not outside in the heat of the day. So, um, but the cold, man, I just can't do the
Yeah.
cold. Just can't do that. Can't do the snow and all of that stuff.
Now, I have to say that was the weirdest thing I ever had to experience was being in a hot tub in the wintertime and getting out and not realizing how quickly you need to get a towel on you. Otherwise, you will literally freeze. You'll get hypothermia if you're not careful. Like it's so
Yeah,
dry and it's like 50 degrees, but it's so dry that your body just evaporates so quickly. You're like, wow, that's really cold.
yeah, yeah. A lot of times, yeah, I have a hot tub out there, and in the wintertime or in the summertime, I keep it, in the 80s. I just turn the heater off and just keep it in the 80s, and I'll be in, flip flops and shorts and tank top, and I'll just jump in there for 30 seconds and then just work until I'm dry. But I'm, outside and just doing all kinds of stuff. I my video this morning that I posted this morning on YouTube, I wanted to do something a little bit different. And so Lake Mojave is only about 30 minutes to the west of us. And I'm actually carving a sign while sitting in the lake. So I wanted to do something different.
Yes. I always
But
found it
I
very I always found it very fascinating that Arizona had more boats per capita than Florida.
crazy.
Yeah. Like you
I
wouldn't think
didn't know that.
there would be more boats in the desert, but there really are.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Lake Havasu is only about an hour away, and it's like Lake Havasu. It's crazy. That place is crazy in the summertime, and even here on the Colorado River and Lake Mojave, um, everybody's got a boat, and everybody has a quad or some type of razor, some type of desert vehicle, that they can go out and ride in the washes and stuff. So there's lots of stuff to do out here. Most people think that there wouldn't be, but there's tons of stuff to do out here.
Absolutely. We have a lot of comments here. Let's catch up here. Yeah. So he's been busy. Yeah. Freeze the keyword. Installed 17 clinic networks in the last 3 months. 3 more to go. You are the
Oh,
man because they need all of that information set up for sure. You can always put more clothes on if it's cold, but you can only get so naked when it's hot.
I'm with you, Angus. Not to get naked, but I agree with your
I was
statement.
gonna say, and then of course, yeah, some people don't like hot tubs. It's people soup. But at the same time, when it's the desert, you got to try it, JP. When it's a desert, jump in the pool, jump right back out, and it's wonderful.
well, for me, it's not like I have a whole community that's jumping in my hot tub. It's pretty much me, So yeah,
So
I don't.
person soup, that's what that would be.
There you go. Yeah, individual. Yeah.
And he just now realized we're flip flopped, and it's freaking him out. Normally, I'm on the left side, Chris is on the right, but
Here, I'll go over there. You come over.
oh, there
You
he
know
is.
what?
Speaking of the devil himself,
There's
Mr. Gary
Jared.
Jones. Well, he's not the devil; he's an angel. But evening all, expecting 4 to 5 inches of snow in the valley, 2 in the mountains tomorrow, which means he'll be skiing.
Wow. Yeah, he's a skier. I was watching his show. Yeah, Gary, we didn't. I remember you from Workbench Con, Gary, but we didn't get a chance to meet. I'll try and change that next time. Next time we get in the same location. But I know you're in Utah. That's not actually that far from me. I drive through Utah every once in a while.
Actually, that would be fun for him to come down and make a wood sign. Like that would be cool
Yeah, I would love it.
because
Absolutely, Gary.
he
Come
does
on down.
do. Yeah, he does do some traveling and going to shops and stuff like that. So that would actually be a really cool
I
content to
would
see
love
him
to
come
have.
down and try that out.
Gary
Yeah,
would love to
absolutely.
travel to the desert on a boat with no name.
Yeah, he would. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah, he'd love to meet face to face. There you go. You guys, we set it
yeah.
up, keeping the
Come on
community
down,
going.
Gary. You come down here, or I'll go up there. We'll get together. I'll show you. I don't know a lot, but I'll show you what I know. You can show me how to turn.
There you go. That'd be cool. Yeah, we need GoPro footage of that on a horse with no name. There you go. He got the reference.
I know.
You got it.
So, Chris, any questions, sir?
I've been chucking right along there. So
Yeah.
So now, where are you guys located?
North Carolina.
Okay, so you guys live in fairly close proximity to each other because you're
Mhm.
both at the Klingspor, right?
Yeah, yeah. So therefore, we're what, an hour or so total away, I think, because he lives on the one side of Klingspor. I live on the other side of Klingspor. I'm more towards the mountains. He's more towards the lakes.
Got
But
it.
yeah, we're only about an hour, hour and a half outside of Charlotte. We're in Hickory,
Okay,
so
gotcha.
yep.
I haven't spent a lot of time, like any time back there, but I want to get back there one of these days. I'm starting to get out of the shop a little bit more, and we're doing what we call these road shows, where we kind of set up these meetups slash training sessions. We did one a few months ago in Texas, where we just Vicky and I, that's my wife, we drove down, put all the stuff in the back of the truck, drove down, and we had some people meet up with us, and we did a whole day of training and just kind of a meetup thing. And then later on, we did one a month later. We did one in Denver. That's where I drove through Utah, and that was a lot of fun. We had a bunch of people show up there, so it was kind of a kind of a cross between a training thing and a meetup, and we get together and have meals together, and it was just a lot of fun. And then I got to spend some time with Mark up there too. Mark Spagnolo, the
Mm-hmm.
Wood Whisperer, who I've known for several years. When he was lived down here in the Phoenix area, he lived down in Surprise. I made a sign for him, and so I took it down and delivered it to him. And actually, the funny thing is, the camera that we use for our YouTube videos right now is Mark's old camera. He was going to a better high tech camera, so I bought his camera, and that's the one we've been using for several years. So Mark and Nicole are fantastic. What great people! Just super good guy.
That's pretty cool. That's all connected that way. So I'm thinking that we take and we'll talk to our boss about it. But the next live extravaganza that we have, we put on our own woodworking show,
Yeah,
and it's
I had
completely
heard.
free to everybody. To come to walk in the door, basically to park. The admission, everything's free, and we have demonstrators, we have vendors there and stuff like that. I think it would be awesome to figure out a way, even if we do like with Amana, and in the Amana booth we have you there,
Yeah,
demonstrating, making a sign with the router and everything else. I think that would be awesome.
that is what that's really what I love to do. As much as I love making videos and making signs, actually being out in public and doing it on site in public. I've been doing it since I was a little kid, but that's what I really love to do. I just did a couple demos. I do these road shows, but I really even would more like to do demos like that. I just did a couple of them in Phoenix at Woodworkers Source stores down in Phoenix,
Mm-hmm.
for Corey down there, and just had a blast. Just set up and actually, and the neat thing for me is that brought some more attention of people that might not know who I am and what I do, because they send out emails and market, and people would come just to see that. So um, that's really what I want to do. I want to be able to get around to different parts of the country and do on-site demos, and that's what I did down in Phoenix, and I've got some others set up. But absolutely, I would love to come back there, and I would absolutely do that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, we'll just have to figure it out, because I think it would be really cool to have some sort of like your fan base that you have and the people that are hardcore on this side of the country. It would
Yep.
almost be really cool to have you set up, because we start setting that thing up usually on Tuesday
Yeah.
afternoon, and most of it's kind of done by Thursday. So a lot of people can, vendors walk through and stuff like that. But it would be neat is to have some sort of like just your group, your people that would love to just meet you in person, that kind of thing, instead of the general public, but have them be able to come out just to have a one-on-one time with you, so we'll figure something out, but I think that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah, and that would be a blast. That would be a blast, and I do have quite a few people back there in and around that area that kind of follow along what I do, and I've talked to the last Workbench Con. I've talked to sat down and talked with Izzy for a while, and I would love to go over and see Izzy and visit with him, and I made him a nice sign for his wall, and so he's aware, and I would love to go visit with him. But absolutely, I think there's so much production that we could get done and just have a lot of fun. That would be a blast. I would
So
love it.
I'm hearing you got to schedule yourself like 2 weeks worth because you're gonna do a lot of traveling and seeing. Then if you're doing that, it would be even
Whatever.
cooler is you have Gary come out and Gary will show you around, Izzy's place and all of that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, absolutely. Whatever it takes.
There you go. No, I like where this is heading. So we're gonna plan it now, and you heard it here first on the Whatnot podcast.
Now you just got to
Next
talk the
October.
boss into it.
There you go. Yeah, we just got to find out how we can make that happen.
Yeah, yeah. I've talked to Chris many times, and Chris,
That sign at
oh,
Izzy's is amazing, per Gary
thank
Jones.
you, Gary. Appreciate that. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. Yeah, it was fun. That one was challenging. It had a gear around it. It was based on his podcast at the time. Maybe I said too much,
Hmm.
and it has a gear in it, and that was a challenge. And it's got LED lights set in it, and it was somewhat challenging, but it was fun. But yeah, that would be a blast. I absolutely love that. That would be a kick.
That's we're gonna do something with that because that'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
For sure. Now, speaking of signs, as far as that one stands out to you, is there not not a favorite necessarily, but a sign that either it was difficult or challenging, it put you to your limit? Is there anything that you remember? Just a sign in general out of all the years of doing it that you were just like, yeah, kind of glad that one left the shop, or that one is just it was really challenging. I'm glad I took it on and made it happen.
Um. Gosh. Well, I was really fortunate that one of my favorites of all time, I actually got to keep. I've made my shop sign, and like I had mentioned before, I kind of got into some power carving along with my routing. And let's see, oh, I'll hold it up here because I
I was
brought
gonna
it in.
say how convenient.
How convenient! So this one was
Wow.
I routed it to begin with, and then I did a bunch of power carving. So it's a full inch depth from the surface down to the lower portion, and then I did some gold leaf on the front, piece of
Wow.
gamble oak wood that was actually given to me by a friend. But yeah, I was really happy. So this was one of those rare ones that I didn't want to get rid of, and I got to keep it. So a lot of times when I'm making something, it's like I can't wait to get rid of it. But this particular one, man, I wanted to hold on to it, and I got a chance to keep it. So that's one. But probably of the most difficult ones that I've done. Gosh, that's really tough. I know Izzy's sign was really that one probably threw me for a loop as much as possible because again I had to have the gear on a Lazy Susan turn as the sign stayed in the middle, and then there was a face frame on it, and it had to have the LEDs light all that up without turning with the gear. So that one was really tricky. And then I did another one way back when. It was a sandwich sign. It was an A-frame sign, and it was actually for the Hell's Angels over in San Francisco. They had come over when we were in California, and it was about 5 foot tall by about 2 or 3 foot wide. And it had all of their artwork and stuff on there. That one was challenging, but I started doing some calculations a few years ago, and I think I've done something over 100,000 signs. So there's been a bunch.
Wow.
Mm.
Just if you think about it, that's kind of amazing because there's that many pieces of your artwork, your skill, your expertise that's out there in the world, and I think that's really awesome.
It really is kind of mind-boggling to me and humbling. It really is humbling that number one that I've got that much of my work out there, but number two, I am blown away constantly by the emails that I get and that anybody takes any time, which is our most precious commodity. Anybody takes any time to watch anything that I do, it still is just kind of, this whole YouTube thing really is just mind blowing. I get emails all the time. Well, we just sent a big order from somebody in Denmark. They ordered a bunch of product that we shipped out today. We send a lot of stuff out internationally, and it's just that kind of um, I guess small world and the technology that YouTube and these even something like this is just mind blowing. It was all you never could have even imagined this when I was a kid.
I couldn't imagine this
Yeah.
15 years ago that we'd have the capability to go live, have a conversation, and then other people get to join in with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like that whole thought process is still blowing me away.
yeah,
Well, see, what's interesting though is what makes you different than everybody else. Everybody else is sort of an edited, finished product like a movie. You guys are more like a reality show, and people love reality shows because you just never know what's going to happen. And so that's kind of what makes you guys more fun. And what I always enjoyed, and I didn't know anything about you guys really until Chris Miller told me about you. I don't know, probably 3 or 4 years ago,
really.
and maybe even a little longer than that. And I had seen some of your stuff, but never thought much about it until I started diving into your more of your content. And I was like, oh yeah, I remember seeing this video. Didn't pay much attention to who it was or what. I remember the video. So, you guys are more of a reality show than a polished finished product, but it makes it better because it's like being your videos are especially your Friday night deals are like it's like you're inviting us to be part of your
Hmm.
family, and that's
That's
what
a
Well,
makes it
great way to
cool.
put it.
People love family, and you guys were inviting us in to just be a part of it.
well, I appreciate that, Chris. Yeah, and that's we're again. I just feel so blessed that we get a chance to do that. That we and our customers they do feel more like family when we do the lives or when we do our videos. I almost have the feeling I just I don't know. It feels like I'm talking to my cousin or my brother or whatever. I just feel like that. I just have always felt that way, and I think I got that from my dad. For those that don't know, my dad passed away in May, which is a huge loss, and our whole community was just devastated. You can imagine. I've been with him, day after day for my whole 60 years. So it was a huge loss, and I'm still dealing with that. But that's what Dad and I we always had that mind that, Dad's favorite quote of all time was one of Zig Ziglar's quotes that said, "You can have anything in the world that you want if you help enough other people get what they want." And everything that we did and have done, we've kind of had that behind us, no matter and then let the chips fall wherever they fall. I'm very, very I don't feel like I'm a salesman. I just feel like I just put out and help as many people as I can, and the law of attraction or whatever will come back, and we have been blessed beyond measure that is the way it's kind of worked out. And I want to help more people as much as I can, and I know that that's going to lead to good things for as many people as possible.
No, I think that's what makes it. You're not trying to take it for yourself. You're trying to help other people down that journey. Um, and I know I remember May. I remember watching everything about your dad, and it was hard to watch from this side of everything. So my heart went out to you. I reached out to you and told you if you needed anything, you let us know because it was tough to know the amount of time that you had spent with them. So
Yeah, I appreciate that, and I remember. Yeah, thank you. I do appreciate that, but I think that it's just now it kind of falls on falls on me to just try to keep this thing going and kind of fulfill Dad's mantra and just help as many people as possible. And one of the things that we found, and you guys will probably know this too, one of the things that we found over the years, and it was totally by accident, is we started probably about 10 years ago, we started getting emails from veterans and law enforcement people that were suffering from PTSD, that there was something about running the router and concentrating and making a sign that it really helped them deal with some of the issues that they were dealing with. So a lot of first responders and especially military people that were dealing with a lot of stuff, they found that it was therapy, woodworking and woodworking in general. But we found that we did, and again, it was just totally by accident. We found that people that were carving signs, they had to concentrate so much on what they were doing that it completely, I had people saying, I'm completely off my meds, you know, uh, my issues seem to kind of just go away when I'm running that router. So, and that was like, gosh, how do you
Hmm.
put a price on that?
You
You just,
can't.
you just
For
can't.
19.95, we'll bottle that and send it to you. 14.95 shipping, but we guarantee. No.
No,
Yeah,
it's I can see that, and knowing first responders and people and what they've had to deal with firsthand in situations with human beings in general. That
yeah.
yeah, just woodworking takes it away to where they're focusing on something else, and their mind stops thinking about those things.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
It was something that we didn't realize. We've been doing it for decades. We had no idea that that was an aspect that could even be a thing. And we
therapeutics.
just started getting these emails. It was like, wow, this is something that we never expected. It was just one of those. Oh, my dog. I don't know if you heard that. My dog started barking.
There's
There
a
We're
he
part
neighbor
of
goes.
the
who's driving by 5 miles away.
we're part of the family, Mike.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
I'm
all right.
glad my cat's not in here because normally my cat would be walking in front of the camera or batting it around or something. Some
I
stupid.
figured you heard mine a couple of times because she's down here like, you're sitting down, you're not doing anything. Why aren't you petting me? And so that usually happens during the podcast. You'll hear. Oh, I know what I was going to ask you now. On the power carving side of it, which direction did you decide to take as far as a brand or a type of apparatus? Because there's a lot of different ones and a lot of different ways to go about it.
Yeah, I've used both Sabertooth and Kutzall, but I really kind of have decided. Well, when we at the last Workbench Con, we met the Kutzall guys,
Mhm.
and they were super kind enough to send us a bunch of their stuff. And I love the Kutzall stuff, and that's what I've been using mostly. But then my wife started getting into it too. I finally got her into the maker community, and she does some resin stuff. And in fact, she poured the resin on my shop sign there. Um, but she bought a Fordham, and so she does some little tiny stuff with that, along some bowl, power carving, some bowl stuff, and but then we use the angle grinder, the Fordham, the angle grinder, and then also like a die grinder with different rasps and that kind of stuff. So everything we're doing, most of the stuff we're doing is with Kutzall tools, the rasps and stuff
Okay.
from
The
Kutzall.
carbide burrs and things like that.
Yep,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah, that's what I use mostly on that. Again, I did the initial part of that. I did with a router, and then from that point, once the router work was done, then I used the burrs and just took the material away. Yeah,
Okay. Because
Now I'm gonna
again,
I
I
was
have
gonna say this
ideas.
just for fun, okay?
Oh boy.
I could make that on the CNC.
I'm sure you could. Absolutely.
That what would be a fun challenge is the amount of, so you both are given a random design from somebody. The amount of
Yeah.
time it takes Chris to program it, to do everything he needs to do to get it on the CNC, held down, you name it, the whole 9 yards to do from start to finish, and have Eric do it his way, freehanding with the router and everything that it would take to make the exact same sign. I would love to see the time it would take both of you to complete the same sign from start to finish.
Yeah, we were talking before we went on camera. We were talking about at the first Workbench Con. I was talking to, gosh, I wish I could remember his name, but he invented the X Carve, um, and I can't remember the name of his company. But anyway, we talked about that. We talked about maybe getting together and doing a little, freehand versus CNC, little, carve off, whatever you want to call it. and I think that would be a blast. I would love that. I would love to do that. That would be a kick. That would
So that
be
would be a
fun.
good collaboration because on Chris's side, he would show in the software how he would go about it. And then on your side,
Yeah.
how you would prep everything that you
Yep.
would do to go about it. And it would be a really interesting, the two different ways you could do it.
I see
Yeah.
a
Some people,
challenge for the extravaganza.
that isn't a
There
challenge
you
for the
go.
extravaganza. I like it. Then bring it to the extravaganza would be even better.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that would
Cool.
be cool. Yeah. It is. That's something that I've thought of, several times. And there's some. I I think the CNCs are great. I don't have any problem with the CNC. Some of the people that follow me go, oh, don't go to the dark side. That's what they call CNC stuff. Going to the dark side. It's like, you know, we all have tools. There are people that say that I'm cheating by actually using an electric
Hmm.
router. Why don't I use hammer, mallet and chisels and stuff? So, it's all we use the tools that we want to use to make the cool stuff that we want to make.
Yeah.
Who cares how we get it done as long as we're making cool stuff?
Well,
Yeah.
and let's say you have 100,000 signs with a power router, and someone else who's using a chisel and a hammer probably has 100 signs. It's all
Right.
time too. I mean, how much
Yeah.
time do you have to invest in it?
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
the key behind that would be you do your production signs on the CNC and your custom signs by hand. So you still maintain your custom sign being hand routed.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, I know Chris and I were talking too before we went on air that many of my people that started following me learned how to freehand route, but then they started doing it commercially, and they were starting to do what I call stock signs, which are just generic signs like "Welcome" or "God bless this house" or whatever, those
Mhm.
kinds of things. And so they knew how to do it freehand, but they needed a higher production capabilities, so they got into CNC so they could do that and have a higher production, but they still had the skill of being able to do it freehand if they needed to, or like you say, the custom stuff, stuff freehand, but then the generic stuff be able to have higher production by doing it with a CNC. I think it's a great business model.
Yeah.
No, it's as long as you can make it work for you, that's all that matters.
Yeah. Yep.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yep. So there's a lot of ideas that have come out of this conversation, and I'm going to write them all down because this is going to be a lot of fun. It really is. Eric, it's been a blast to have you on. Like I knew it was going to be a lot of fun, but at the same time, until you get into it, then you really just you enjoy yourself. Next thing you know, an hour's gone by.
Gosh, have we been on here an hour? No
Yeah.
way. Oh my gosh, we have over an hour. That's crazy.
Isn't it
Seems like
crazy?
it's been like
Because
10 minutes.
yeah, because for future episodes, we're looking into having some of the podcast stuff, if you will, the pre-show, as some people call it, to our Patreon subscribers,
Yeah,
because there's a lot of fun stuff that we talk about beforehand and stuff you may hear that we may forget to mention
yeah,
during the show itself. But if you'd like to support the Whatnot Podcast, please check out patreon.com/whatnot podcast. But yeah, no, it because a lot of people think, oh man, what am I going to talk about for an hour? Next thing you know, just by having a conversation, an hour's gone. It's
Hmm.
done.
yeah, yeah. Well, I appreciate you guys having me on. It's just it's been a blast. I was a little nervous about it, like what the heck am I going to talk about? And but obviously I don't have a problem talking.
No, you're great. Yeah. And then next time, so if you're ever nervous, just bring out that sign behind you and just start with that. Everything else will be piece of cake
Yeah.
because that thing's incredible. It's like, yeah, let's just start with this.
I
Thanks,
was
man.
worried. It looks like it's slippery wet. I was worried you were going to drop it there for a second. I was like, oh, hope it doesn't slip.
He's like, this is my favorite one. I just got done making it. Is it's
Yeah,
glossy. Thank you, Gary.
I,
Appreciate it.
I don't
thanks,
know that we've
Gary.
done this before, but I'd like to dub you an official whatnotter.
We haven't. That's cool.
We haven't done that as a guest. I guess we've done that with people watching, but I don't think we've done that as a guest. So
I'm honored. Do I get a crown or because I got room?
We'll make a hat.
We'll make a hat. There
We'll
you
make
go.
a hat.
listen, we're kind of broke, so you kind of have to make your own.
I'll make my own hat. There you go.
That's so wrong. But if you jump onto our Patreon and Support us. We can make a hat for Eric. That'd be
If,
great.
if we like it, we'll buy one from you.
Yeah, there you go. You come up with the design, we'll buy it for you. I was going to say that Mr. Foxhall Woodworks did say he challenges you with his logo because he picked an easy one to start with.
Oh, look at that logo. Oh, I like that. Send me that logo. I'll do something with that. That looks fun. I love that kind of stuff. That's a great looking logo. That'll make a cool looking sign.
He does really good design work. Like he does his day job, but on his side, the things that he likes to do as a passion, things that he enjoys doing, is graphic design, and he designed that.
Yeah. Wow,
So
that's
You,
really
you know,
cool.
I think in exchange of that JP should probably design you a really cool logo for your business.
Wow.
you'll
Did you
make a
see how
logo for the
you see
hat if
how I
you can get on
snuck
a
that in
t-shirt.
there a little bit?
I saw that. Pretty clever. Pretty clever.
Don't let
Yeah.
him take advantage of you. You got to get something back out of that deal there, Eric.
Well, yeah, he comes up with the logo, you route it out, and then you both can have it. And that'd be cool. He can have it
Yeah.
because he does a lot of YouTube stuff. So
Does he? Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah.
Collaboration event.
I like doing stuff that kind of challenges me and forces me kind of outside of my comfort zone from a science standpoint. So yeah, I've got several things in the works that I want to kind of add new elements to what I'm doing currently. So, and the thing is, I've got enough people that follow me that truly are artistic. I don't have any artistic ability at all, but I can follow a pretty good line if I can get it on the board. I can follow a pretty good line. But I have some people that follow me that literally can just draw what they want on the board and then just take off and carve it. It's like God didn't bless me with that. I ain't got none of that. But I find creative ways to get the line on the board, and then I can follow a line pretty good. But yeah, there's so many talented people out there. It's crazy.
Absolutely. No, I always figured I was pretty good if I could do a straight line on an Etch-a-Sketch. I was really an artist.
And that's why I use the CNC.
Yeah, there you go. That's why I use the CNC. It makes the lines for you pretty.
Yeah, but
Awesome.
that's a thing in itself. Just programming that thing and doing all that. It's that I'd rather just transfer the thing on the board and hack away.
Yeah, we're gonna try to figure out time we can do that for a challenge because that is gonna be fun to see both sides of that coin.
That would be a kick.
Yeah,
Yes, it
Now,
would.
see, we need to get Kyle involved in that because Kyle can design a whole lot faster than me. So we need to get him involved somehow
Oh,
with
so you want to
that
bring in a
challenge.
ringer already?
Well,
Now,
yeah, I mean, I'm going against the
bring in a ringer.
expert.
I see.
I mean,
he's gotta have someone on his side, and who he wants on his side is learn your CNC. And also, you'll
.com.
notice that. Yeah, you'll notice that too. So we just really enjoy Kyle and what he does. What he does is he's made a full course for people to learn Vectric software as you want to, like learn as you go at your pace.
Wow.
And so we just for giggles, we always, throw him a shout out. It's not sponsored whatsoever, but we really enjoy what he's done. And he's finally left his day job to do this, pursue this full time. And it's been over a year.
Mm-hmm.
He's
Wow.
finally gotten it done. So yeah, since last October, not this past, but last October.
Very cool.
So that would be cheating right there on that contest if you brought Kyle in. I'm sorry, you got to do all the Vectric.
Please.
What he's gonna do is he's gonna send it to Kyle. Kyle's gonna send it to him like, don't just remove my logo from there so no one knows.
I mean, if we're just like writing out a name, the CNC hand router challenge, and we're going to carve that out. I mean, we can do that.
Well, we'll have to get together and set the parameters and figure it out. But doing the same thing would be cool if we take a logo or something like that. That would be fun. What a blast! I think that would just turn into a big party.
So right before we set the parameters, I do have a question because this would be a good thing to ask with both of you here. Is there a length restriction? Because see, Chris only has so long that he can do on the CNC. Do we make it slightly longer so he has to program that in? Because that's part
Ooh,
of it.
ooh, yeah. So if you've got 4 foot, let's make it 4.5 foot long.
Perfect.
4 foot 1 inch it is. Okay, here we
Yeah.
go.
good luck with that one. But see that okay, that's got to be a parameter. So it's got to be longer than the capacity of the CNC because you got to feature that. What it takes for you to be able to pull that off.
Okay, I'm gonna do my part down at Stated Woods, and we'll.
Oh yeah. So Stated Woods is Nick. He bought Izzy's old Avid CNC, like that really long one. So
Yeah.
that's why he's saying he's going to take it there. That way he can cheat again. See, Eric's not thinking of ways to cheat. He's already like, yeah, I got this in the bag. It's not a problem.
Well, I mean, I don't have to cheat because I already know he's gonna win. Well, I mean, I'm just trying to eliminate the complete annihilation of my personality here and my manhood.
You know what I'm thinking? Here's what I see. I see most of Eric's videos of him just kind of hanging out in the hot tub or routing on a boat. Like he's very relaxed about the whole thing. Chris is sweating. He's trying to program. His computer crashes, like the whole 9 yards. I can just see the drama now. Mm-hmm. Oh, all right. Sorry, we got carried away with that.
I got, I've reached this age because I got money on Eric. Thank you.
That's it.
I reached this age where nothing, pretty much nothing makes me nervous anymore as far as carving a sign. Again, I'm so blessed in the fact that I found what I absolutely love to do early on, and I freaking love it. I can't wait. As many signs as I've carved, I can't wait to fire up that router and I have to carve something every day. I just my mantra is sawdust makes me happy, and it just does.
That's what it says on your hat, right?
Yep. Yeah. It's and I'm blessed in the fact that I've got my wife and my grandson. It's just a little three person business here, but they do a lot of stuff that take stuff off my plate. So I can just worry mostly about, I put out fires, but other than that, I can worry mostly about making content and coming up with ideas for signs and different things. But right now we're doing a Christmas one. We always give away some kind of Christmas themed sign. And then a lot of our Facebook followers got together and we do what we call a sign exchange. So I think there was like 36 or 38 people that got together, and one of our guys drew names and paired people up so they make a sign for their Christmas exchange partner and then send those out, and then they film those and then put them on Facebook. So that's kind of a separate thing that we're always looking for ideas and coming up with ways where we can all make some sawdust.
There you go. No, I like that community, because really everyone's being able to do something connected to make a wood sign.
Yeah.
It's a great idea.
It's fun. It's just like a big, when we get together, like these road shows that we did, it's almost like a family reunion. We make some sawdust, we do some training and stuff, but more than that, it's just like we hang out, and it's just like, oh, finally I get to meet this person in face to face. So it's really cool. It's kind of like a family reunion.
There you go. And then Angus says everyone's picking on Chris, so he's on his side. Go, Chris.
Now you're going to lose your money. Just bet on the horse you know is going to win. I'm like the one that they're already putting to pasture. So.
Oh, I'd rather be the underdog. I don't know. I think we ought to switch, Chris. I'd rather be the underdog.
Maybe you are the underdog. You just don't know it yet.
Yeah, I think
now that he's going to start getting all this help from other people, you will become the underdog. It's just you. No, Angus said earlier to Gary Jones, he was saying they need to do a road trip down to your place. So I think now Angus is probably riding in the back of the truck. I don't think he's going to be riding shotgun.
Well, Chris, we could also do the opposite. So have you freehand one and I have to use the CNC. That would be interesting.
That would be interesting.
No, it wouldn't. I'd lose on that one too.
Such confidence.
Listen, I can build you anything, but when it comes to anything hand carving, my hands and brain don't function together. They don't agree. But I can build you about anything you want.
See that there's a challenge. So if I come to your place, give me a day and I'll have you freehand carving signs like you wouldn't think you could. You watch. I could do it.
All right, so now it's 2.5 weeks worth of hanging out in Hickory, North
Yeah.
Carolina.
Just
Well,
gotta,
go ahead and
Still
make
have
it
some
3, and I'll finish the week out by teaching you CNC. How's that?
oh, well, there you go. There you go. We're just gonna have to plan on a month. Now
Yeah,
it's a month.
it's
Yeah.
a month now. Yeah, we'll get everybody involved. Have them all
Uh,
come
you,
out.
you dub him a whatnotter, now he wants to come and stay with you. I see how it goes.
Well, I thought it was great. Where was it at? Because JP said that he's going to be going to WorkbenchCon this year for the first time. And he's going to crash on Zach Manring's couch. And I said, no, he's going to be crashing in the teardrop trailer. Because there's a joke there, a long, long joke, but I kept always picking on Zach for not finishing his teardrop that he always promised he was going to finish.
Ah,
So
and
he has one. Don't get me wrong, because he brought it to the extravaganza, but he was going to build like an off-road one, I think, the Overland edition, so you can take it anywhere.
oh man.
And he got busy, he got married, and all this other stuff happened. So I always pick on him. So that would be hilarious. Might as well just get an apartment. Yeah, he's right about that, Eric. You might as well just find a nice place. We'll get you a rental for the month.
Well, depending on what time of year it is, I mean, you can come on in. I've got extra bedrooms in the back. You can just stay with me.
Oh my
There you go.
gosh. Now it's getting crazy. We just have too much fun. Sounds
That's the
great.
idea.
What's funny is we'll sit around and talk about Chris Miller.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What's even better is that Chris Miller's not too far away. He'll literally just drive over, and then you can just sit and have you could have your own meetup literally right in
Yeah.
this area.
Yeah, I'll clean out my shop a little bit, and we'll just open the doors, and people can come sit out on the patio of the shop, and we'll just sit around and enjoy the campfire or something.
That sounds awesome. Sounds great.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay. We'll figure this one out. What? Why another ouch, Chris?
Now, I didn't say we were going to talk bad things about you. We'll
No.
just talk about Chris Miller.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I don't know anybody that can say bad things about you.
Exactly.
You know
you're,
what?
You're
He
one of the
probably
most
fell
friendly.
asleep.
You're the friendliest guy, one of the friendliest guys I know, and you just would bend over backwards and do anything for anybody. So
Yep.
I think he fell asleep and he just hit Control V and just pasted the same thing he copied
probably
earlier.
get. Well,
That's
no,
what
he's missing the exclamation point. So
why you have to point out the small details.
Yeah.
well,
No, Chris nobody's got anything bad to say about Chris. He's just too nice a guy.
That's
Yeah.
why we always come up with bad things to say, because they're not true.
Yeah.
And it's just fun to pick on him because he's one of those guys that's so good and so nice and so giving that you almost have to go the opposite direction because everyone knows you're going to be full of crap. Well, that's it. And that's our time where Chris Miller's now reaching out through FaceTime to tell us to stop talking trash. Just kidding. I had no idea what that was. All right.
Awesome.
No, seriously, we'll probably have to end it because now we're getting into an hour and a half, and I'm sure you got things to do.
Yeah. It's crazy. And it's almost my bedtime too, so I know you guys are stay
Perfect.
up late, but by 9
No, it's
o'clock,
getting close. Yeah.
by 9 o'clock, I am kind of declining. So, but then again, I'm up at 2 or 3:30, something like that. Yeah,
See, people used to think I was crazy when I talked about when you live in Arizona, you literally get up at 2 o'clock in the morning, if it's like the summertime, to go grocery shopping because that's the only time you can get ice cream back to the house before it melts.
Yeah, that there's something to be said for that. Everybody's got half a dozen cold bags in their trunk.
Yeah, and they're all inside of each other.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
Well, sir,
All
we
right,
do
boys.
appreciate you coming on board and having fun with us and sharing your evening with us and your knowledge. We do thank you.
It's been a blast. I had so much fun. We definitely
Yes.
got to get together.
Absolutely. We're going to make this happen this October. I'm just going to say it now. However we figure it out, we're going to make it happen.
Good. I'm there, man. We will
That'll
be
be
there.
a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, it gives us a chance. It gives Vicky and I a chance to drive across country too, which we love driving and taking road trips. So yeah, absolutely.
Oh, and it'll be perfect for you because you're right off of I-40 is the closest one, if up that
Right.
way. So we're right off of I-40, so you just go
Oh
cut
my
across.
gosh. Yeah, it's no turns, just heading.
No turns. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the nice thing is, if you were to come here in October, the scenery would be far better than what you've got where you're at.
Yeah, that's when the leaves change color, because here we have leaves on this side of the country. There's
Yeah, we
not
don't
just
have
pine
that here.
trees. No.
Yeah, we have dirt and cactus. That's pretty much it. Yeah,
Yeah,
where
so
we're
it'll
at.
be a nice change of pace.
That
Yep.
would be a nice change of pace. Yeah,
And from where
and
I
we won't
live,
have.
I'm about an hour or so from the mountains and about 4.5 hours to the beach.
Wow, sounds awesome.
So yeah, now you
Yeah,
have to plan a month.
Well,
yeah, it'll be
you
a
just have
month.
to see it when you get here.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like that. That's good. All right, Eric. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight on the Whatnot podcast. We have really, I've enjoyed this
Yep.
very much.
well,
Thank you.
And thank you all
I've
for
enjoyed it.
watching.
Oh yeah, there's
Yeah,
other people. Thank you too for watching as well and listening after the fact. I just had so much fun doing it myself. It's all about me. I'm sorry. Just hang my head now. All right, so we'll end it here, but thank you again for watching, for listening after the fact. We really appreciate your support on that. Don't forget patreon.com/whatnot podcast so you can get Eric a hat.
yeah.
Right. All right, thank you so much.
Thanks, boys.